Thanks for tuning in to the World XP podcast. If you're enjoying the content, please drop a sub, drop a like, and let us know your thoughts below in the comments. Also, please consider supporting our podcast via the link below. It really helps us out. Leslie, welcome to the World XP podcast. How you doing, man?
I'm good, fam. How are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do a quick introduction because we're running a bit short on time. Sometimes these can, especially with people that I'm friends with, they can just go for forever. And
Yeah.
we got a lot to get to today. So let's
Okay.
do a quick intro and then we'll do the question from the last guest as always, and then we'll jump right into the conversation.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, quick introduction. My name is Leslie Ezeuko. I am 34 years old. I play as a striker. Left wing was my original position, but since I started, the more I played semi-professionally in Europe, the more I was used in different attacking positions. So I got used to playing from the right, the left, the cam, and the top nine. Um, I played basketball up until I was 15, but first time I touched a football was when I was 16. And I don't know, I just fell in love with it. I didn't even know I could play. I just knew I was athletic and I could understand what the game needed, but I was still very just raw. So I trained for a year, twice every day except for weekends. So I could go pro. My coach in Nigeria at the time, I didn't have anyone in my age group. So everyone I played with was much, much older. So I had to get strong like really fast. My body just adapted to it. So after that, moved to Turkey was my first experience of the pro life. And I know we look around and we see the shiny stuff and we see all the glamour and everything, but it's not nice there. That was the first time I had an experience of what an agent could do. So I had this trials at the Galatasaray Academy. And, as a young player, I didn't care about money. I just wanted to play football. I just wanted to just do what I love. So I did trials for a week there. The coach liked me from what I got from the players. Everyone was vibes were good there. So I'm looking forward to like them saying, oh, that they want to bring me on. I was like, oh, okay, that's exciting. 2 days later, my agent calls me. It's like, oh, I have to move you to Holland. I'm like, for what? I'm enjoying Turkey. He said, oh, they're not going to be signing you. I'm like, I'm pretty sure they did. But anyway, he moved me to Holland and, what do you call it? I had to, uh, I had to find out for myself kind of what actually happened. So I asked one of the teammates if he could talk to the coach. And the coach told the teammate that the agent's cut wasn't going to be enough for him for the trade they wanted for me. So you screwed the start of my career because you wanted more money.
Oh, it's nuts.
Yeah, bro. So it sucked. I went to Holland. I was staying with him at the time, and after that, I left. I just got a plane ticket like a few days later because I spoke to my mom. My mom was like, "Just leave." So I just left. Never heard from him again. And then I set up something else that was I think this was in Sweden. No, this was in Poland. Oh no, sorry, this was Sweden. And in Sweden, it was great. Had a great time. Another bad experience. The person who set this whole thing up was doing it more for the money for himself. In Sweden, I slept on the streets for 2 nights. What do you call it? I didn't have a place to go, all this stuff. Like he didn't set up anything, but he set up stuff for the club. So we got to the club. This was like second division in Sweden. Um, the coach was amazing, nice guy. Like he was British as well, so we got along very well. He liked my style of play. He was like, it's just that they've reached their capacity for how much they can sign for that season. And I was like, God, not again. So I left Sweden and I went to Poland. Poland is where I played for a while and I enjoyed it. Second division. Zrinjski Prushkov, it was the name of the club. It was Lewandowski's starting club, I think. So I did my trials there. It was great. But, after the first season, the second manager came in and, he got rid of some players because he wanted new players. So after that, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm done. Moved back to the States and went to school here. Got my bachelor's, played while I was in college here, got my All-American here. I actually got my All-American playing for a community college.
Mm.
I know, right? And I didn't when I played for D2 college, Salisbury University at the time. And then I also played for DC United's U23 team here, like their summer league teams. And most of my playing stuff has just been here for most of it, for the most part. But I still carry my experiences from around the world and football from different places. It just makes you a different, better player.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That's a lot to get into for sure. So let's
Right.
we'll go. Okay, so the question from the last guest, um, and I think you'll tie this into all the things that you said. Was
Yeah.
what do you most want to be remembered for?
Um, in
It
life
doesn't
or
it doesn't have
other?
to be an action. It could be like like your personality or character as well.
Oh,
But yeah, in
just
life,
my
like what do you most want to be remembered for? Like when you're gone, you want people to think this about you.
okay, my mindset, like
Mm,
the way I see things or the way I continuously just plow through stuff, even if it's difficult. Like some people would have just given up so many times, when they get shut down. But for me, I always think there's still another chance. There's still something else that could happen. There's still this. After my injury, same thing. I pushed myself and dragged myself till the point I am now. So some people, I know a lot of people that have some injuries and they just stop playing. But I love the sport too much to not stop. So my mindset to always keep going. Yeah,
yeah, that's good. And it's people can take a lot away from that. I think I don't want to gloss over the Turkey thing, but I think that's fairly common, right? Players getting screwed by agents.
yeah,
I don't think that's uncommon. But I want to talk about this. So you go to Sweden and you're on this like the transition from Holland to Sweden and you're on the streets the first like couple of nights. Like what is going through one, how old are you? And two, what's going through your head? You're like, okay, I'm here now
yeah.
and I have nowhere to go. You're like, did I just make the biggest mistake of my life? Like what like walk me through the mental of where you are at that point.
It was it was interesting because I still saw it as an adventure. If anything, like I never thought anything would make me travel in the way I did. Like to be in Sweden, such a beautiful place. Like people are super nice, people are super chill, the weather's lovely, everything's so nice. Which is probably why nobody bothered me when I slept on the street. So um in that time I was just thinking because this was when I knew things had hit like like shit's hit the fan, quote unquote.
Hmm.
Is when I got to the airport and I couldn't check in my bag because apparently the flight he bought for us, we didn't have any checked bags. And I didn't have any the money I had, the last bread I had, I just spent taking an Uber or I took a bus from Maryland to New York and then took an Uber when I got to New York. I think it's gotta be here, man. Anyway, sorry. It's like a wasp was just fucking leave me alone, man. Oh, it's gone. All right. So thank you. What do you call it? So I couldn't check my bag in and then I had to take out clothes from my suitcase and wear it on myself.
Hmm.
It's like I have enough. So I took the most important things, which were my boots, my shin guards, my shin guard sleeves. Everything I took was football. I didn't even take any dress stuff. Like I just wanted to be ready just in case, it was a trial, I was going to practice or something. So I wore all of that, go on the flight. I was sweating like an idiot because it was just too much clothes.
You were wearing like, have you seen the episode of Friends where Joey wears like 30
The layers.
jackets? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That was me like this, like in the seat. And after the flight took off, I calmed down a bit, started taking my clothes off, asked the waitress for a bag. She was nice enough to give me like a little like bag stuff. Put my stuff in there, got to the airport, we landed. I'm talking to the guy on the phone and I'm like, you didn't check my bag. And he said, didn't I read the ticket that it doesn't say I have a checked bag? I'm like, boy, you said our flight was 1200. You didn't make you weren't specific about what we needed to do. You just think automatically when you buy a flight, you get like a check bag.
Yeah.
But that's how cheap the flight was, and the flight was long. We did like two or three connections. Um, so after that, we went to a place that we're supposed to stay. Get there, it's not paid for. Nothing's done. At this point, he's not answering his phone anymore. So I'm giving them his name, and they're like, they don't know who this is. Like,
Is this like a coach at the club?
no, he wasn't a coach of the club. It's almost like a scam. They used to like all the scams on the internet now, like, say yes if you want this link to this now. It was like way back then when people would say, oh, you want to go pro, I know this club, and they have connections to the club, but the setup to get you there is always so mm,
Yeah.
is a bit shaky. So um I just grabbed my stuff, found a nice spot, like it was like a shop shed. I couldn't sleep like for a few hours because you're in a new place, you don't know what that place is like. Like your mind is just running everywhere. I have very limited airtime on my phone now because I'm like, should I call my mom or should I call I was dating this girl then, she lived in London. I said, or should I call her to see, who can help me because I need to get the fuck out of here. The next morning this guy calls me, he's like, the place wasn't ready till today, that it's his fault, that he's sorry, that the I was like, okay. So we get a place. It's free food because apparently he said it was part of the package. And then we had practice. Practice was great. We played some scrimmages. I stood out when I played the scrimmages because again my physicality was one of the big things that I noticed was my first strength. So I used it a lot. So they noticed that, and then the coach started having me have like one-on-one sessions with him. And then towards the end of the trip, I didn't have a flight back, which is the fun part. So I'm stuck in Sweden now. This was the second night I slept outside because the place we were kicked, we had to leave that the last day of the trials. So I get to that night, sleep outside again. In the morning, one of the guys that was trying out with the team as well, he was from England. We just like clicked and became friends. He saw me early in the morning, like I think he was going for a run, and then he saw me. He's like, "Oh, you're still here." I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm just stuck." He's like, "What do you mean?" So I gave him like a little brief of what happened. So he asked me to come stay at his, use his phone to call. I called um my girlfriend at the time, who was very nice to fly into Sweden, get me sorted out, and then help me get a ticket. My best friend contributed. My best friend at the time, Eric, another Eric. He contributed to my flight ticket, and then I came back to the States.
Mm.
That was that experience. So it's just, I don't know, it's never just a straight path like people think. That's why, like, when we see so much stuff in the transfer market, I'm like, you don't know what some of these people are actually dealing with. To say,
No, none.
oh, this person go here.
Even at the big clubs, right? You got like language barriers, personality barriers. The family doesn't want to move.
Yep.
The coach doesn't speak the language or whatever,
Yeah.
all these things. And like there's personality fits. It's like this coach likes to deal with problems in this way, and the player doesn't like that. And like there's personality clashes and all these things that go on. Like people have no idea. They're just like, well, he's good and that team is
Mhm.
good. Why doesn't it work? And it's like there's so many things that go on. Um, Okay, so you get back to the States, and then when does Poland come around?
So Poland came right after that experience, which was, I needed it.
Yeah.
So Poland experience was great. So the first trainings, actually they took me to Division 3 in Poland. They got literally, I flew in that day. We drove like 2 hours through like this, I don't even know what to call it. It was just a different experience, man. We drove for the like 2 hours, got to this like stadium. There were some fans there. I saw people like dressing up, like they were getting ready for a game. My agent calls some guy, talks to him. The guy points at me and he's like, "Me?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm Leslie. He said, "Okay, go and grab a jersey." I said, "I'm sorry, what?" What do you mean grab a jersey? He's like, you're playing this game." I told the agent, "You didn't tell me I was playing the game." Like he said, yeah, the coach, the person that he wants him to see me play live is here today. That he really wants me to play. That he got me this,
Is this a
like,
friendly?
yeah, like an exhibition game.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say the registration and all that stuff. You just
No,
show up
no,
and play. Yeah, yeah.
they wouldn't have let me do that. So it's just an exhibition game. So I go into the game. I remember they had me playing as a cam. That was the first time I played as a cam, like ever.
Hmm.
But in my head, I'm thinking, okay, I have the best of two worlds. I can drop into the mid. I can also help the striker. I can also shoot a lot because I noticed the team always sat back.
Mm.
So, so
We'll have a whole blooper reel from this one.
I swear. So I remember the game started 10 minutes in. I'm keeping the game simple. I'm not doing any tricks, just trying to just stand to the basics for the first, just to get a rhythm of who I'm playing with, first of all, and just how the game is going. About 50, and then we went into halftime. The coach came to me. He was like, "Do I want to transition to the wing?" I said, "Yeah, sure. I'll play anywhere."
Right answer.
Right? I was like, "Yeah, I'll play anywhere. Please take me." So took me to the left wing. I got the ball from there. I remember I cut in and ripped it. Next thing I hear is like, it's a goal. I didn't even, honestly, I didn't even know I scored because of how much I shot it so much that when I landed facing away from the goal. So
Mm.
you can imagine how much of a spin my body had to go through.
Yeah.
So that went in, I lost it. I was like, I was just laughing because, I mean, I just flew in today. Like, I'm not supposed to be playing the game. So the game
Is
ended.
this the first game you've played in Europe? Because Turkey sounded like trials, Sweden was
Yeah.
trials. So this is the
So
first
this was the
game.
first, yeah, this was the first game. Like,
Surreal.
so like it was weird just having, and for such a small club, like they had a lot of fans. Like they had a massive a lot of fans. Like I didn't expect. I've never played in front of that many people before. So, but there was this game we also played that the stadium is so loud you can't hear your teammate talk. Like you guys
Yeah.
would lose your voices by the end of each game. But so Poland was that. It felt great, but it felt too easy. Like first game, second game, I was like, I don't feel myself getting better. I don't feel challenged. The people we're playing against, some of them don't even they have day jobs. So I told my agent, I want a higher division. If I'm gonna grow as a player, I can't be in the same place dominating, which is why players like that for me that have gone to different leagues and dominated, for me, they always have my biggest respect. So those who played like in the Prem, Italian league, German league, Spanish league, it didn't matter. They set standards everywhere. So for me, those are the top players. So I want it to be I wanted to, if I'm gonna do this, I wanted to do it like properly, you know? So he got me to a second division. That's the Zrinski Prushkov. Went on trials there, great, loved me. The coach was amazing. He said yes, that he definitely wants to sign me, but the transfer market wasn't open at the time. So they didn't want to do any kind of messed up deals, quote unquote. So he said I can go back to the States and when it opens, it would just get my ticket back and I'll just sign. I was like, okay, cool. Go back to the States, coach gets fired. New coach comes in.
Yeah.
New coach comes in, says, nah, I don't want a 26-year-old striker. What's this? So that didn't happen. After Poland, I was like, you know what? think I think the universe is telling me something. Let me just enjoy this game at any level I can. So, but it doesn't matter if I'm playing pickup. I still have that professional mindset of just, playing in a certain way. And like how how like sometimes you be at practice and it looks like somebody's really pissed. I
Yeah.
completely understand that feeling. Like I get it. But yeah, that was it.
Yeah. That's a cool journey for sure. I think there's a lot of lessons to be taken from that perseverance, like you mentioned before. And then kind of just rolling with the punches because it would have been so easy at some point to just be like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get back to the States, you get your degree in exercise science,
Yeah.
and I want to fast forward a little bit to kind of what you're up to now, just because I think we've had people on and who've played in kind of the amateur, right? The DC United U23, the summer leagues, the things like that.
Mhm.
Um, but so you're training now and you've got strength and conditioning program. You just started a new age. So let's tell people about that and kind of what you're up to now and how you ended up um at this current juncture. Because we left off, you come back to the States, you get your degree, and now we're fast forwarding 3, 4 years. What took place in those 3, 4 years to get you to here? in like in a business professional sense?
Oh, I would say Coach Matt Nine. He was my SNC coach in Salisbury. He turned me into, I thought I was a freak of it, and I'm like, I mean, an athlete before. He said, no, you haven't even touched it yet.
Mm,
That was the first time I was a 190, 4% body fat. I could clock a mile in 4:30, 4:40. Like it wasn't anything. I was like ridiculously fit to the point that after games, I don't feel like I played a game. Like he conditioned me in an insane manner. And this went for the whole team, but that that summer he did it. He asked me, I stayed back in school for some to take some summer classes, and he was like, "While you're here, might as well just get better." So that next season, we won everything we could win. I didn't miss a single game. I was never hurt. So by the time I was graduating, and I was really close with him. He's the one that even got me what do you call it, aware of the internship at DC United, at
mm,
sports performance internship kind of stuff. Apparently, they were looking for people in 50 states, and they only had one spot, and that I got the spot. So, but I wanted to do what he did. Like I wanted to do that for athletes, just continuously just see what you can achieve with a person, And I always use myself as the test subject because no, I don't have volunteers lying around. But that was what switched for me. And after the internship at DC United, I said I want to do this at the professional level. Like I want to work with pro teams, I want to work with pro athletes, I want to work with athletes in general. So um I after I graduated, I worked as a PT for a PT company as a manager. But after a year, I knew I still wanted more, so I went back to the UK where I played. I went to University of East London where I played for the uni as well. And that's where I studied my sports performance and training conditioning, applied training conditioning, masters in both. I could do a master's program, so we did that. Finished it in a year. I wrote my dissertation. Like I was done with my dissertation 4 months before it was due. That's how much time I had. So if I wasn't playing, I was just studying. If I wasn't
mm-hmm.
studying, I was playing, but I also had time to travel and enjoy myself still. So um finished that, moved back here, started a job with a pro team in Maryland here, the Maryland Bobcats.
Yep.
I was the head performance coach for when I first joined, they had two separate teams. Each team had roughly 23, 24 players. So I was always in charge of at least 50 players. So I got used to breaking them down into different positions, training, sending them programs, warm-ups, cool downs, performance conditioning, all that stuff. So I started applying all those things. The year that they got me, we had 50% less injuries than the year before they got me. That same year, the team played against what's the team in New York? The Cosmos.
Yeah.
They play Champions League football sometimes. I
That
think.
would New York Cosmos is a team, and then they're what color? Do you remember what color their logo is?
I think it was. Is it the same team played for at some point?
Yeah, Cosmos. Pele played for Cosmos, yeah.
Okay, yeah. We had a red card in the 10th minute of the game. Somehow those boys played the whole game 10 men down against that team and tied the game 1-1.
Mm,
So I knew, yeah, my program is sound and I knew it worked because, again, somebody had done this to me. I knew what the feeling would be like. I knew what the players should feel like. So that's how I just started designing programs for them. And then after a while, I had to move to the hospital sector. I wanted to try something different, being an exercise physiologist, working for different hospitals like Adventists and I think Centara as well.
mm-hmm.
But now I'm back to sports. I think that was fun and that was, nice, but it's not the same as training athletes. Like it was nice helping people, but it's not the same as training athletes, and I miss that. So now I work at the St. James as a high performance coach and also for Capstone Soccer. Capstone Performance in Virginia here. Yeah. And Arlington Soccer as well. Obviously
Yeah.
us.
Yeah. I do have to say since I joined Arlington, So I always had problems with my knees just from the turf, like patellar tendonitis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they've been feeling the best that they've felt in probably 7 years, something like that, this season.
Yes.
Like it used to when I would drive long distances, if it was driving more than 30 minutes, it would get
They were
stiff
hurt.
and
Yeah.
hurt. And then I made a drive down to the beach like 4.5 hours, didn't hurt at all the
Nice, man.
whole way. Yeah. So like stuff that I've learned from you and obviously Coach Philip as well. And the warm-ups we do, I think, are just good generally. Like even when you're not there, we still take like similar approach to the
Okay.
warm-up.
Yeah.
And it just shows to like there's so many little things like people hate warm-ups. They're like, oh, I don't have to warm up. I'll just play. It's like, no, you need to do it.
Like
So
it's important. I don't think people quite understand the benefits of a proper warm up. You can improve your speed of that session by about 5 to 10% if you have a really good warm up leading up to what if you're doing like a speed session.
mhm.
But people don't know this, but how they warm up sometimes is just like, okay, you jogged around the field and you think you're ready to cut, change direction, sprint, dribble, all that stuff. But you're right. Like, I don't know how much people love to skip the warm up. I don't. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Well, I've learned to enjoy it as well. And like we were talking about yesterday at practice, like the mobility stuff and different things to do to keep your body right. Like when you're coaching other people, then you have the opportunity to not only teach them to give them good habits moving forward before
Yeah.
they get injured, but you also have it's kind of you're maintaining yourself as well because you have to show them all the time like what the different exercises and stuff are. Um, okay, I want to talk about have you been paying attention in the news to like the seed oil stuff and kind of like it's become a little bit political, but like have you been
Yeah.
paying attention to that sort of thing?
Yeah, I've seen and heard stuff about how feed oils are bad and they're out to kill you and all that stuff. Yeah.
So I don't know, when you study nutrition, what's your thoughts on these different things, right? People say like I had a guy, a nutritionist on a while back who does stuff with MMA fighters,
Yeah.
like UFC and the one in Australia, I forgot what it's called. Um and people always say like, "Oh, I'm eating clean." It's like okay, I don't know what that means. Like I know what they think that they mean, but
Hmm.
like what's or another one that you'll see is like, don't eat bread and carbs because it's bad for you, or like you'll gain weight, right? And you're laughing now, but there's a certain level
Trust me,
of,
I've seen, I'm laughing because you don't know how often that comes across my feed.
I'm sure loads, right? But
Yeah.
there's a certain truth to like, well, don't eat the bread here because it's filled with random chemicals and stuff, and
Mm.
you got to read the ingredients labels and do all these things like. So I don't know, like when you're studying, what's some general like some good rules of thumb, things to avoid, things to go after for athletes, and then just people generally, right? Like I feel like there's so much, I don't know, the rule of thumb that I always say when you're shopping in the grocery store, stay on the outside of the store, don't go in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's super simplistic, but like what are some things that you've figured out and found in your research or some advice that you would have for people, things to avoid, things to eat or consume more of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I'll obviously put it on record. I am not a licensed nutritionist in any way. However, I do possess knowledge of nutrition that is enough to get the basic person, doing what they're supposed to do. Carbs are not your enemy. Your relationship with food is. It's never the food. There's been multiple studies of some women, I think it was 25 or so. They did an Oreo test on them, fed them Oreos at a certain quantity per day, made them move more throughout the day. They all lost weight. The problem is not for me what you eat. It's more or less how much you eat and if you're eating for saturation or satiation. If you're eating for saturation, you're always going to overeat because you're just trying to get full. If you're eating for satiation, you control how much you eat and you tend to move more. There's a reason why some people, if you notice people who do works where they're on their feet a lot,
Hmm.
it's very hard to find them to be extremely overweight because you're constantly burning more energy being on your feet than sitting down. Um, Protein is your best friend because it keeps your muscles full It helps rebuild tissues in the muscle. It helps with mechanical strength in the muscle as well. And obviously, great for overall just health well-being. Fats, great for you. Again, the dosage makes the poison. Just because something has seed oil in it doesn't mean it's going to kill you if you eat it. But if you keep eating it over and over and over and over and over, and you're eating large amounts of it, then you've got a problem, you know? So for me, I've never thought about like, oh, vegetarians, the extremists are the ones that just bore me because you have vegetarians who say, oh, don't eat meat. Have you seen a gorilla eating meat? I'm like, no, but I've never seen a boa constrictor strangling carrots to eat it. They all have muscle,
Yeah.
but that's just their genetic build, and they're very active, 1,000 times more active than we are as humans.
Yeah.
Or, the people who are the carnivore people who don't tell you about the cholesterol spike they have due to this new lifestyle. But everything you give the body is going to try to adapt to. I tried to be vegan just for the point of just testing it. Because there's no point in me telling people about it if I don't test it at least.
Yeah.
I went vegan for 2 months. I couldn't do it. I promise you, I was always tired. I had to eat so much food, like a lot of food to fuel the type of training I was doing at the time. And it still wasn't enough. I went back to my regular, like, my stuff is this: eat a balanced diet. If you have a health issue, then see a nutritionist to know what you can change or, like, swap out in your meal. Like a lot of people think things like burgers are bad for you. Well, they're not. They're great. Bread, carbs, protein in the meat. If you throw in some egg there, extra punch. Fiber, lettuce, vitamins, tomatoes, onions. That's a healthy meal.
I would say I would agree mostly, but a lot of those things are dunked in butters and like a whole bunch of others like
So
added
this is
calories, the sauces, the things that go with it.
Yeah, so
That
no, that's what I'm saying. Like, this is where you make the choice now. Do you go buy a burger or do you just make yourself one? If I
yeah.
want to make a burger now, I'll go to like my favorite local shop here. Unprocessed meat, I get my lamb there. Minced lamb, take it home. Get their wheat bread. So the only literally ingredients you see there is wheat, water, flour. Like, there's nothing added to it.
But that's what I was getting
Yeah.
at with the seed oils and all the chemicals and stuff before. Like the stuff that you're eating
Mm-hmm.
it's just those things is water, wheat, flour for bread. It's only the meat that hasn't been pumped full of
Oh, stuff. Yeah.
chemicals and all the other stuff. It's your lettuce you get from a farmer's market is locally grown. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what I'm getting at is like, yeah, you can eat all these things, and just because it has the name burger doesn't mean that it's good or bad for you inherently. It's
Yeah.
what goes into um that meal. Like there's a bunch of chemicals I think that are banned in Europe that are not banned in the US. There's a
Oh,
reason why like
yes.
if you go to Italy
Yeah.
and you eat the pizza and the pasta over there, you don't feel
Completely
bad, but you
different.
come back here and you feel like butt. So it's like you got to read the ingredients labels, and I would say like another general rule, maybe I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, but like the less ingredients on whatever it
The
is, the
better.
better. Yeah.
Like our ketchup, okay, so the UK ketchup and the US ketchup, there's an extra page on the US that is like, this is what's in the UK ketchup. Like, the UK ketchup doesn't have that many ingredients. But
Was it like
here,
tomato paste, water, salt, and
like
something
basic
else?
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
But here there is so much. The thing is, I don't understand the need to add these things if you can just keep making them.
Well,
Because they say it's for preservation value or to extend the shelf life of it. What if they don't want to extend what that is not everything's not supposed to just last, especially like things that don't, like, imagine something you eat and you're having just issues overall just because your colon is blocked because there's just stuff that hasn't digested just sitting there.
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, and obviously being from Nigeria, most of the times I eat my native food. I just make it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to
That's
be fair,
probably that's probably a good idea.
I say don't worry. If you want to say I can make you one.
I don't know. Send me the recipes later. Okay, yeah, I think we're on the same page with that generally. I think like a good general rule is just like read the ingredients labels. If there's a bunch of stuff you can't pronounce on there, probably in large quantities, not good for you. Stuff from farmers markets is good. Lean meats.
I don't think people do their homework enough anymore. Like you can use your phone and just ask it, "What is this?" and it'll tell you.
Yeah, I
But
yes,
like you could
yeah,
just literally press your phone and say, "Hey Siri, what's this?" or "Hey this, what's that?" And
yeah,
it'll tell you what that is. But you can't even use the device. And it's like they hand you the tools to find out if something is not great for you, so that they have plausible deniability. Like you knew you could research this stuff, but you just chose not to. And
yeah.
everyone just lives like, oh, it's just the way how things are supposed to be. But I don't think so. If
No.
people just looked up stuff like before they ate it, or even just research stuff, just basic things. Like for example, if especially like the fear mongering going on IG now or social media with, eat this, eat that, or don't eat this, eat that. For me, it's always find what it is that you enjoy to eat, something you enjoy to cook, or something you just enjoy to make, and just have a balanced lifestyle with everything with it, like you do with everything in your life. You know,
Yeah,
like don't overeat. If you don't need to, if you need to stop eating, stop eating. And then if you want to
yeah,
continue,
yeah.
But man, I mean, it's just there's too many misconceptions now that it's almost hard to pinpoint who's right and who's wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Again,
a lot of it as well is down to the individual, right? You see
yeah.
carnivore doesn't work for some people, but for other people who like
Mhm.
I've seen people say like, "Oh, I had arthritis or this other autoimmune disease where and I went carnivore and 3 months later, no more pain or no more this or no more that."
Hmm.
And it's like fair enough. Like that works for you. Maybe it doesn't work for me, it doesn't work for
True.
somebody else, but like people have to figure out on their own. Okay, we spent a lot of time on nutrition.
Okay.
Let's go to kind of the strength and conditioning, the performance training and things of that. So,
Okay.
like we were talking about yesterday, and like we just mentioned, a lot of it would be based on the individual, what they need. Some people have different builds, different body types, different imbalances. They need to work on different things. So let's go kind of to um, we can go to some maybe general uh like ways to sort through the information. There's a lot of people on the internet now saying, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that, you should
Yeah.
do this exercise, you should um I don't know, do
Not
like
do this one.
not
Yeah.
do this, not do that one." What's a good way to kind of sift through the different people, kind of saying, "Oh, come to my page, I'll sell you my class on explosiveness. You'll be able to dunk in 2 weeks," or like these are that's maybe an exaggeration. Well, maybe
No,
not.
no, you're not
But
exaggerating.
but like,
You're not.
what's a good way for people like young athletes, especially to kind of sift through that if they were to say, because there's some good pages out there
Mm-hmm.
that I'll go look for and I'll like I'm not going to pay the guy, but he put the content. He's like, hey, this is a good workout, and I'll go try it at the gym. For like a young athlete who's trying to sort through that. And the other reason I bring that up is because um and why coaching is so important. I saw these, I think probably high school age kids. They're trying to do plyos where you like kind of step off the box and then explode. And the
Yep.
mechanics
Jump.
were all bad. They were like landing on their heels and doing all this. And I was like, I was watching them, like my knees were having secondhand pain. But, um, but
We're
the,
landing
the
so hard on their heels, huh?
yeah, but the point being is like it's tough to sift through all that stuff.
So the way I like to see social media now is whoever can sell the dumbest things wins. That's how I see it. And if you mute a lot of the videos you watch, you realize just how dumb some of these things are, or how non-practical some of these exercises or trainings are. Because so when I see stuff, I don't look at it as a consumer looking to buy products. I look at it as a strength coach. So I'm criticizing like, oh, okay, I don't know why that's needed in this session, but sure, do you? Or no, this is not that. Like one thing people tend to preach a lot on social media, and you won't believe this, is that that the gym is killing their ability to play football, or it's crippling their talent and their skills. And when I see that, it's a head scratcher still because they use videos of pro football players in the gym to preach this message. So I'm like, and then you say comment something if you want the ebook to this. I'm like, you guys don't realize this is a scam. Like, you don't see how this is a scam. You've never seen the person running this page. One time he made an appearance, we actually had a back and forth. I told him, what is it about the gym that you think like stifles a footballer's playing ability? He said it makes you stiff. You know, you're always lifting, you lift all this heavy weight and you're slow. I told him, no, that's not how footballers train. That's how bodybuilders train. And listen, I might get an ear full of criticism for this, but I don't consider bodybuilders athletes because nothing to measure. Not that I don't respect their discipline. I just don't consider them as athletes. Because if you think of an athlete as somebody doing something that you can measure, so goals, assists, dunks, distance covered, power, all that kind of stuff, not insane biceps or great abs. So I always tell them, like, because a lot of people think that to get strong in the gym, you always have to lift heavy. It's a huge misconception, and you wouldn't believe how many times I see this, even now in younger athletes. The best, there are different expressions of strength. Speed is an expression of strength. Power is an expression of strength. Balance is an expression of strength. Stability, all this is an expression of strength. Yes, you should get strong, but learn how to express the strength in all of these other aspects as well. If you can, if I would tell people to always use the force velocity curve as a guide, it tells you what you need to do. Literally, lift it this way for speed, power, peak power, speed, sprint speed, or sorry, speed strength or strength speed, things like that. So if you can understand that as a coach, then you can create a program. But then when you watch these videos as a coach and you know all this stuff, it's like, that doesn't make any sense. That just looks cool. This would never be applicable anywhere. How many athletes do you have that can actually have the coordination to do this? Especially when they sell it to like younger athletes, because there's the people that see commenting, all the words they want them to comment. But my thing is this: sift through the trash. So basically, anyone that sees like they're overly trying to sell you stuff, just forget it. Mute the video. Don't let the music, it messes up your brain too, so you're not really focused on what you're supposed to be focusing on because the music is, it's hyping you and the movement is matching, Just mute it and then watch it. You start to see like, this is never going to happen in a game, or you never be in this position in a game. Like, oh, this exercise does not help with what you think it helps with. Like, some people confuse agility with quick feet. I don't know how people are confused that. Agility is your ability to change directions multiple times consecutively. Your quick feet is moving, but you're still in the center. You're not moving, but your feet are. Agility is you being able to move. That's why Messi is untouchable. So when people sell programs like do this for Messi, to have a quick foot like Messi, I'm like, you think Messi did this to have the quick foot he has? Like, you think he he did what you're selling right now? And you see people commenting this stuff. That's why people get scammed so much, and that's why these scammers stay rich. Because how do you believe that? It's almost like people don't think anymore. Like, they just, yes, because this guy said this works. Yes, it works. There's no way for you to actually think like, what if he's just not right? What if he's maybe just speaking about himself? Like, I saw a coach one time tell an athlete to do 100 calf raises every day. 100 calf raises every day.
Well, that's all I do, clearly.
I mean, Jack Grealish calves, please. But like, I asked the coach, what's the purpose? He said he doesn't move his feet fast. I told him, okay. I don't think 100, calf raises every day for 7 days. That's 700 calf raises. At some point, that tissue needs to recover from what you just did. It needs to adapt to that new strength, and then you now push for more. Is it possible? Yeah, you can spread out 100 count phrases throughout the day. 5 times throughout the day, 20 count phrases. That's easy, you know? But this is where overtraining becomes an issue. So this athlete is doing this, but we're not factoring in if they're going for a run later, which is more tissue damage. If they're gonna go lift or do something later, or if they're gonna go play football after this, like the frequency and volume, all the stuff that what a coach looks at before you program something for an athlete. So it's not just like that's why I say PTs can't be strength coaches, but strength coaches can actually be PTs. Because
Mm,
programming for a regular person is not the same as programming for an athlete. You
no.
can't program like the most. I at one time, yeah, one kid sent me an email. He was really like he could tell he was upset. He bought a program from like a famous person on social media, millions of followers, millions of likes. So just bought this program, and he sent me the program. He's like, this doesn't look like what an athlete should be doing. A 17-year-old kid sent this to me. So I looked at the program. Day one, Smith machine squats, Smith machine deadlifts, Bulgarian split squat, and what else? Single leg RDL. I was like, I mean, it's not the worst. That's a good
Yeah,
strength
that's
session. Like that's not bad. Day two, the leg press, but you're laying on your back.
yeah, yeah.
Leg press, hack squat, glute bridge, and pull ups. I'm like, okay, heavy leg day, bro. Like back to back. That's fine.
Yeah.
Third day, he says cardio, 30 minutes on the treadmill, incline 10, walking speed. I was like, what's going on here?
That feels like somebody just made something up and put it on a paper.
Thank you. That's what it looked. No, honestly, that's what it looks like. Like there is no, and he doesn't provide warm ups. He doesn't provide some kind of explanation to as to why you're giving this. I like to program that way. Like if I tell an athlete, okay, today we're doing maximal strength today. So I'm going to test all just compound lifts, your squats, your deadlifts, your push, your bench, or your pull up, your bench, right?
Yeah.
If we're going to do like a power day, I'll tell you we're doing a power day. I'll show you the exercise. I'll tell you this is what you need to be doing to perform this properly. So it's not just look at what you're doing. I need you to engage this muscles. I need you to brace here. I need you to, feel the ground here, kind of stuff, so that it's more sound so that if I'm not there, they can still do this. These programs don't have that. They just have a list of exercises like you ask ChatGPT to put it together for you. There's no power, there's no strength, there's no speed, there's no high intensity day, there's no low intensity day, there's no say this is a conditioning day, there's no there's no variety to it. It just looks like you just go there to get strong. So imagine someone who's been squatting 315, 315, 315, 315, but they've never jumped, they've never landed, they've never did bounds before, they've never sprinted. And you expect them to do this in a game?
Yeah.
Like you still need to express those things before you bring it to the game. And that's why so many players get hurt. They train like bodybuilders. So even when the muscle is telling you I've had enough, you're still just going at it.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I'll just squat more. It's like,
Yeah, yeah. Let me just do a couple more reps.
yeah. Yeah, it's rough. It took me a while of like reading a lot of different things to learn properly like what to do.
Yeah.
Because it takes time and then like we said, you have to figure out what works for you, what doesn't work for you. Um I think that's a good what all the things that you just laid out for young athletes or athletes in general. If you go to find a coach and they're
Yeah.
not doing those things, it should raise a red flag for you. Um,
Like a coach should be asking you certain questions. Like there should be some kind of testing. Even if it's not testing I can do in person, you can do it on yourself.
yeah,
And then I work with those metrics to bridge the gap between where you are and what your sport demands. That's it.
yeah. I know you got to run in a few minutes. But is there any other misconceptions, things of note that you wanna let the people know about?
Active recovery is bullshit.
Mm,
Yeah, I said it. Active recovery is Doesn't make any sense.
Okay, expand.
You can't be active and be recovering. I
So
mean,
what's a
the
good
difference
recovery
is sleep.
routine then?
Just sleep.
Sleep.
That is the best form
That's
of
true.
recovery. Sleep. Take a nap in the day. Like go to bed earlier so you get like 9 hours, 8 hours of sleep. Reduce the things around you that makes you stressful. So if it's playing FIFA and screaming at the TV, go ahead for it. The point of being like trying to recover is to reduce the stress being placed on the body, especially if it's stress that the body processes in a similar way as when you would train when you do intense stuff. So you say active recovery, but here you are, you're foam rolling, spiking your heart rate because you're going to be foam rolling over knots and it's going to be hurting, right? Or you are doing sauna. The ones I see, they do sauna, they do ice, they do this. And I'm like, fam, you're moving too much. The whole point of recovery is to just not do anything, just rest. Now, if you have a low intensity day, that's what it should look like. If you have a low CNS stimuli day, that's what it should look like. You're still working the body, but it's in your head, you know, oh yeah, this is not a workout. This is more, I'm taking care of my body. But if
Mm,
somebody's doing that and I'm sleeping and I get 8 hours of sleep, yeah, the next day I'm gonna feel like I can run 3 miles because my body is fully recovered. My brain spent a lot of time in the REM sleep. My body starts fixed itself better. It's not even just I wear this thing called the Whoop, right? I don't know if you can see it.
yeah.
So it gives you a very big breakdown of your strain, which is stress or activity levels, your sleep, your heart rate, your resting heart rate, your metabolic rate. Now it added steps. And one thing I would say is this: the days I wake up in the red in recovery or from sleep, I can feel it. Like I'm not jumping as high. I don't feel as springy. My strength is kind of there, but it's just not clicking, you know? But the days I wake up in the green, I don't need to even take coffee. I'm
Mm,
just ready to just go because I just feel good. Like my body feels great because I got a good amount of sleep.
yeah.
That's from a recovery for me. Like I always tell people this, look at athletes who have the same routine. LeBron James, Steph Curry, Messi, Ronaldo, all these greats, they all do this. They're creatures of habit. They do the same thing, just they do it over and over and over and over and over. And they've gotten so good at doing the same thing over and over again. They make it look easy, you know? So that's the only other stuff I'll say is just stop calling it active recovery. And yes, hybrid athletes. I don't know what those are. You just lift and run. You're basically playing, doing CrossFit.
Uh,
Like,
throwing shade at people that just want to stay active.
I mean, listen,
Unbelievable.
you can call it whatever you want, in my opinion, but don't try to make it seem like you invented something out of this world. You did it.
No, no.
Okay,
All right,
you just keep
I'm
moving.
gonna push back on one thing. I
Yeah.
love ice baths and I love the
Yes.
sauna.
No, those, yes. I'm not saying those are not bad. Those are bad. Those are great for, helping your muscles get less sore or your joints and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
No, that's great. I do sauna actually almost after every lift or every conditioning session, like 15 minutes, stretching there, more blood
Yep.
flow. You feel good after. But let's say I do all that and then I get home, I stay up till 3 a.m. and I have to be up at 7. Am I
No.
really recovered? I'm
No.
not.
Sleep is definitely the most important. But I just
Yes.
wanted to get that cleared up for people who are like, What do you mean I shouldn't do those things?" It's
No,
like,
no, 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 no.
no, you
Dude, that makes
should,
sense.
but sleep is number one for
Sleep is
sure
number
for
one. That
recovery.
should be a priority.
Yeah. Okay. Where can the people find your Instagram page or your business if they want to get in touch with you or learn more
Oh,
or
yeah,
book a
sure.
session?
It is NNA trains everyone. Basically,
Very nice.
yeah.
Um, Link will be in the description for those interested as always. And any last nickels before we get you out of here?
Um, go kick those people's butts today, please. I'm
That's
so
the
pissed.
plan.
I'm so pissed. I'm not playing because of the registration thing. But playoffs, I'll be available though.
All right. Well, then we're good. We're all
All
good.
right.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Go check
Thanks,
Leslie's
guys.
page out in the description, and we'll see you guys next time.
Take
Peace.
care. Peace.